Hey there, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'll teach you how to play Don't Think Twice It's Alright by Bob Dylan, which is a beautiful acoustic tune. Now, in this lesson, I'll teach you two different ways of playing this song. The first method will be the finger-picked version, which is close to the studio recording. This is tricky, however, and the picking speed is quite fast, so not very suitable for beginners. So in the second half of this video, I'll teach you an easy strummed version suitable for beginners. And in fact, in the live performances that I could find of this song, Bob Dylan actually strums it as well. Now for the basics of this song, you'll need a guitar and standard tuning, and you'll need a capo on the 4th fret of your guitar. Now if you want to master your chords back to front, then be sure to head over to guitarzerotohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. Or if you're fairly new to guitar and you're looking to build a strong, solid foundation, but you don't know where to start, then be sure to check out the Guitar Zero to Hero Premium course and membership, which gives you all the guidance to play with confidence. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Let's jump into the lesson. So first off, I'm going to show you how to fingerpick this song, and this is close to the studio recording. Now I will note that in the studio recording, the guitar is played in quite an improvised way, so at times there's very small variations to the fingerpicking patterns. So in this arrangement, I've tried to make it as structured and easy to follow as possible. Now for our fingerpicking basics, your thumb will take care of the 6th, 5th and 4th strings, and your index, middle and ring finger will take care of the 3rd, 2nd and 1st strings respectively. Ideally, they shouldn't pluck any other strings other than the ones they've been assigned to. Let's start with the intro. There's just one line of tab here, 4 bars of music. We're going to start with a C chord, and we're going to just pluck the 5th string and the 4th string. And that's at 8th notes. So 1 and then we'll change to a C over G. So what we'll do is move our ring finger up to the 3rd fret of the 6th string. We're going to pluck 4 notes here at 16th notes. It's going to be the 6th string, 3rd, 4th, and 2nd. Now this 4-note sequence is an example of Travis picking. Now with Travis picking, what we're doing is we're constantly alternating between our thumb and one of our other fingers. So thumb, index, thumb, middle. For the first half of this bar, 1, 2. Now for the second half of this bar, we're going to stay in this position. It's technically a G chord, but we're not going to lift our index and middle fingers just yet. We're going to pluck the 6th string, then 3rd string, and at this point we can lift our index and middle fingers, hit the open 4th string, and then pluck the open 1st string. Now after we pluck the open 1st string, you're going to hammer that index finger onto the 1st fret. And those 4 plucks. One little tricky thing we need to consider though, as we hammer onto that 1st fret, we will be plucking the 6th string with our thumb at the same time, and that occurs on the 4 beat. After that simultaneous hammer on and pluck with the thumb, we're then going to pluck the 3rd string, 4th, and then move our index finger up to the 1st fret of the 2nd string and pluck that. So again, these are more Travis picking patterns where we alternate constantly between our thumb and one of our other fingers. So the second half of this bar. Notice again, as I pluck that open 1st string, as I hammer on, I'm going to pluck the 6th string with my thumb at the same time. Like that. And the bar in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more time. Now, if that hammer-on is giving you too much trouble and that timing is just throwing you off, we can simplify a little bit. So from the 3 beat, after these first 2 plucks, the 6th string and then 3rd string, lift your index and middle, move your index finger to the 1st fret of the 1st string, and then pluck 4th and 1st. So no hammer-on here effectively, we're just going straight to that 1st fret. So a more simplified version of this. But obviously the hammer-on version does sound a lot better and more true to the studio recording. For the second bar, we go to an A minor, and we're going to pluck the 5th string and then the 4th string. Again, this is at 8th notes, so 1, and it's not at 16th notes like the Travis picking pattern. After that, we are going to lift our ring finger and put it on the 3rd fret of the 6th strings. We return to a Travis picking pattern, so we're going to go 6th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. And then we shift to an F chord. Now, the way I like to play this is an F with my thumb reaching over the top. You can play a full F bar chord as well if you want, but by using this F, you can keep your index finger planted where it is and there's less movement really going on with the chord change. So keep your index finger where it is, your ring finger will be on the 3rd fret of the 4th string, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and your thumb will reach over the top to hit the 1st fret of the 6th string. We're going to play 2 Travis picking patterns here, so 6th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. And that's it for the second bar, which will sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we move on to the 3rd bar. Now the 3rd bar is almost identical to the 1st bar, except for the first beat we are playing the C over G 4/1 Travis picking pattern, which is 6th, 3rd, 4th and 2nd string. So we play that pattern through twice and then the G chord part with the hammer on. So the 3rd bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then for the 4th bar we go back to our C chord. We're going to hit the 5th string and 4th string, again at 8th note, so 1 and. Then shift to a C over G and then play a Travis picking pattern, so 6th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. So the first half, 1 and 2 and we repeat that through twice for the 4th bar. So your ring finger is just going to bounce from that 3rd fret of the 5th string to the 3rd fret of the 6th string. That's it for the intro, which will sound like this at 2 different speeds. Now in the studio recording, it's actually played a whole lot faster. However, I think for learners out there, I think it's important to start at a slower speed. And then once you're comfortable with these speeds, then you could try attempting the speed that's in the studio recording. Okay, next we get to verse number 1, and there's 4 lines of tab here. So the first bar here is identical to the first bar in our intro. We've already learnt that. Then we go to an A minor. Now this bar is going to differ a little bit to the intro, so we're going to start off with those 8th notes. So 5th string, then 4th string, and then we're going to play 2 Travis picking patterns on this A minor. So 5th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, and play that twice. And so far for the A minor. Then shift to a C over G, play 1 Travis picking pattern there. And the second bar in total. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we go to our F chord. We're going to play 2 Travis picking patterns here. So 1 and 2 and. Now, for the 3rd beat, we'll do another Travis picking pattern, but we're going to end on the 3rd string, the open 3rd string. So you lift your middle finger here for that last note. And then after that, you're going to hammer it back into place. So, and again, we have another scenario here where on that 4 beat, we're going to hit the 6th string, but at the same time, hammer into our note. So, like that. And then after that, 2nd string, 4th string, and then you can lift your middle finger and hit the open 3rd string. So from just before the 4 beat, and this 3rd bar in total. And the 4th bar is identical to the 1st bar, so it's a C to C over G and G. That's the first line of tab, which sounds like this in total. For the second line of tab, our first 2 bars are identical to the first line of tab. For the 3rd bar, instead of an F, we're going to play a D7 over S sharp. So to play that, keep your index finger on that 1st fret of the 2nd string. You're going to take your middle and ring fingers and put them on the 2nd frets of the 6th and 3rd string. We're going to play effectively 4 Travis picking patterns here. So 6th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, played through 4 times. And then we'll go to a lazy G chord, so just the ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. We're going to hit the 6th string, open 2nd, and then pluck the 4th string and hammer your middle finger onto that 2nd fret of the 4th string. Now we're going to do a similar thing on the 2 beat, but we're going to hammer on from the 2nd fret to the 3rd fret with our pinky finger on the 4th string. And then for the 3rd beat, we'll go 6th string, 2nd string, and just the 4th string by itself. And the first 3 beats. And for the 4th beat, we'll go 6th string, 3rd string, and then lift your pinky finger and middle finger and hit the open 4th string. So that's the final bar. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. That's it for the second line of tab, which sounds like this. The third line of tab is quite simple. We go to a C chord and we're going to play 4 Travis picking patterns here. So 5th string, 3rd, 4th, and 2nd through 4 times. 1 E and 2, 3 and 4 and. Second bar is almost the same, except we're playing a C7 now. So just take your pinky finger, put it on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, and continue on. Then we go to an F chord and we'll continue on with 4 more Travis picking patterns. Our root note now is the 6th string though. And then for the final bar, D7 over F sharp, again with 4 Travis picking patterns. So that third line of tab is pretty simple, just 4 chords with that Travis picking pattern played again and again. Then for our fourth line of tab, we are going to play a C over G for 2 Travis picking patterns. Then lift our index and middle finger, so that's a lazy G chord shape. And we're going to continue on with 2 more finger picking patterns. Then we go to an A minor with 1 Travis picking pattern. Remember the 5th string is the root note here. Then shift to a C over G, 1 picking pattern. Then to F with 2 picking patterns. And the third bar is identical to the first bar. And then finally the fourth bar is identical to the fourth bar in the intro, where we bounce from the C to the C over G. So the fourth line of tab in total. That's it for verse number 1, which will sound like this at a couple of different speeds. Okay, next we get to break number 1, and it's more or less comprised of bars that we've already learnt. So the first bar is the same as the first bar of the intro and the verse. And then for the second bar, it's the same as the second bar in the verse. The third bar is just an F chord for 4 Travis picking patterns. And then the fourth bar is the same as the fourth bar in the intro, so bouncing from the C to the C over G. So that's it for the break. Pretty simple. Again, it's just comprised of bars that we've already learned. Now let's take a look at verse number 2, which is also the same as verse 3 and verse number 4. Now these 3 verses, 2, 3, and 4, are identical to verse number 1, with one little change, and that's just in the final bar. Now, in the final bar of the first verse, we played that bar where we bounce from the C to the C over G. But in verse 2, 3, and 4, we're only going to play half of that. So it's just C bouncing to the C over G once. It's a 2-4 bar, meaning there's just 2 beats in this particular bar. It's just identical to the first verse minus those 2 final beats. The next section to learn is break 2, which happens after verse 2. Again, very similar to break number 1, except we're cutting out those last 2 beats again. Next is break number 3. Now break number 3 differs to break 1 and 2 a little bit. So the first 3 bars are the same. For the fourth bar, we're going to basically play what we had in the first bar. So this bar. And then for the second line tab, we're playing that C to the C over G, bouncing back and forth for 2 bars of music. Otherwise, break 3 is comprised more or less of parts we already know. So I'll just quickly play through break 3. After verse 4, there's the outro. Now the outro is just the same as all the other verses, just the final bar differs a tiny bit. So for the final bar of this outro, we go to a C for 1 Travis picking pattern, so 5th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. Then we shift to an F chord, play 1 Travis picking pattern here, so 6th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. Then we go back to our C. You can just strike the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings, and then strum the whole chord, and I just do that with the side of my index finger. And that's on the 3 and 4 beat. So the final bar. That's the only different thing that occurs in the outro, but otherwise it's the same as the other verses. So I'll just play through the final line of tab here for you. Okay, so now let's take a look at a simple strummed way of playing this song. And this is more suitable for beginners out there because the finger picking, to be honest, is quite fast. So it's going to be more for advanced players and a great finger picking challenge. But this is great if you just want to strum and sing along. Let's start with the intro, and we're just going to play a C chord and then go to a G chord. So from the C chord, move your ring and middle fingers to the 6th and 5th strings. And you can just sort of focus on the heavier 4 or 5 strings. You don't need that first string ringing out at all. So C to G. Now these 2 chords are contained within 1 bar. Now each of the chords is going to be played with a down, 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 up, down, up. So now for the second bar here, we're going to go to an A minor, then shift to a C over G. So just take your ring finger, put on the 3rd fret of the 6th string. Keep all your other fingers where they were. Now those 2 chords are just played for 1 beat each with my suggested down, down, up strumming pattern. So down, down, up, down, down. And then we're going to go to an F chord. So you can play a full F bar chord like this, or you can play this bar chord, which I personally find a bit more comfortable to transition to. So keep your index finger where it is, ring and pinky on the 3rd frets of the 5th and 4th string, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd, and thumb reaching over the top to hit the 1st fret of the 6th string. Although if you can't get that thumb, just focusing on those middle 4 strings will sound just as good. Now that F chord is played for that strumming pattern that we had for the C and the G. And total for this bar. And the first line of chords in total. For the second line of chords, we go back to our C over G, and then our G. Again, these two chords are played for half a bar each, so. And then we end with the C chord, which is played for a full bar, so we'll play 2 of those strumming patterns for the C. So the intro will sound like this. Okay, next is verse number 1. So for the first line of chords, we have a C to our G, similar to what we did in the intro. Then for the second bar, we have an A minor, which is played for 3 beats of music. So we're going to play it for one of the longer strumming patterns, and then for one of the shorter strumming patterns, so the down, down, up. And then go to our C over G on the 4 beat for that short down, down, up. So the second bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then F for a full bar of music, so 2 of those longer patterns. And then the 4th bar is the same as the first bar. So the first line of chords in total. For the second line of chords, the first 2 bars are identical to the first line of chords. For the third bar, instead of an F, we're playing a D7 over F sharp. So to play that, middle and ring fingers on the 2nd frets of the 6th and 3rd string, and index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. That's our D7 over F sharp, and then we have a G for another full bar. So the second line of chords. Third line of chords is simple. It's C for 1 full bar, C7 for 1 full bar. So from the C, just put your pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. Then F for 1 full bar, and D7 over F sharp for 1 full bar, which will sound like this. Then for the 4th line of chords, we are going to play C over G for half a bar, G for half a bar, then A minor, C over G, and to our F in a similar way that we did in the intro. Then the 3rd bar is identical to the 1st bar, C over G to G, and then end on a C for 1 full bar of music. So the 4th line of chords. So in total, verse number 1 will sound like this. After verse 1, there's break 1, which is pretty simple. The first 3 bars are identical to the first 3 bars of the verse. After that, we just have 2 full bars of the C chords. Next is verse 2, which is also the same as verse 3 and 4. Now, it's identical to the verse number 1, except we just cut out 2 beats of music from the very end. So the final C chord here, I've got it as C dash because that means we're just playing half a bar here for the C chord. So one of those longer strumming patterns. So the final C will just be 1, 2. That's the only difference between verse 1 and verse 2, 3, and 4. Break 2 is identical to break number 1, except again, for that final C, we are playing half a bar, not a full bar. So that's why I've got the C dash. For break number 3, it's a little bit different to break 1 and 2. First 3 bars are the same. For the 4th bar, we have C to G, and then we have 2 full bars of C chords. So break number 3 sounds like this. Then we get to the outro, which is again very similar to the verses. The only difference is the final bar of music. So we go C for 1 beat, F for 1 beat, and then play the C for 2 more strums on the 3 and the 4 beat. So just 3 chords within this bar of music, which go, so 1 E, 2 E, 3 and 4. And that's the only difference between the outro and all the other verses. So again, very self-explanatory stuff. Just follow along to the chords in the strumming patterns below. And that is much simpler than the finger-picked version. Now in terms of structure, we have the intro, verse 1, break 1, verse 2, break 2, verse 3, break 3, verse 4, and then the outro. So now I'll be doing 2 playthroughs of this song. The first playthrough will be the studio fingerpicked version, and the second playthrough will be the easy strummed version. A big thanks to my friend Eric for lending his awesome vocals to these playthroughs. Feel free to play these back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go.
Never do
Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitarzerotohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.